after.
And I just learned this is fire. Anyway, anybody that watches the circle knows where I learned that from. My girl Raven. Anyway, welcome everybody. Hi sis.
Hi. How are you doing? Yo, I be feeling like a kindergarten teacher sometimes, but I really just be this excited.
But listen, I realized that sometimes that's how you have to treat life. You have to approach it like a kindergartner, like in the voice and everything. Like I'll tell you something else behind the scenes, because I literally just thought that the other day, because somebody in my like circle they talk to people like kindergartners, like they're talking to a bunch of kindergartners. And the way that they do it is everybody's always like, I love this person. This person's great.
Because I was going to say it's going to have two different things. Like either they're going to love it or they're going to hate it. But I would imagine people love it.
Because the person really isn't saying anything wrong. Even though sometimes they say stuff that's like sarcastic, it's not taken like that because they're talking to kindergartners. And we all really have a kindergartner inside of us. So, I guess if you appeal to that child, it works. But I like the person, but I'll tell you who it is.
Yeah, I need to know right after. But I think it will work because I think most people, most people don't want to think that hard anyway. So if you're going to break things down to them in a fifth grade or 5-year-old fashion, that's the best way to go. I'm just going to start taking that approach. People are people don't dislike me now, but like people are going to love me now. They're going to be like, oh my God, there's just something about the way she talks to me. I just feel so at ease. People are gonna, I'm telling you.
You are so funny.
My gosh. Right, okay, so it's a new year. I'm gonna ask you, how are you feeling? How's your week's been since the new year?
Well, I am amazing right now. However, I did start out the new year with that C19, so it was a little touch and go as far as, whatever was going on at that point. I was just like, okay, let me just rest. But I will say that it wasn't like a horrible experience. I don't want to do it again, but I'm glad to be feeling better now. And I just started going back to my workouts this Monday, like this past Monday or whatever, because I obviously had COVID. I couldn't go. And then I felt like, okay, well, I need to, get a negative test and I have to wait a few days or whatever. So I was like, okay. So I went back Monday and I feel like I did really good. But yesterday, Tuesday, my legs was like so sore. I didn't go back Tuesday and I didn't go back yesterday. But honestly, the reason why I didn't go back was because I was taking the challenge, the Bryn challenge or whatever. So I was like, either I miss it and catch the replay, or I can just, and I was like, well, a good reason is to grow my mindset, right? I was like, at least I'll be doing something, even though I'm not working out, I'll be doing something, what is the word? Productive, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, so because of that, I have to work out tomorrow, I have to work out Saturday, and I have to work out Sunday. But these are going to be like light, just getting me back into the habit of like being out of breath for a certain amount of time.
No, I hear that. I feel like, okay, so here's the other thing. Like, I was definitely worried. And I was like, oh, I hope she's okay.
It was okay, but then I was worried about Earl because I'm like, well, shit, like I don't want to give it to him, the dog or whatever. I had so many unanswered questions or whatever. But I remember when I took care of him when he had it back in October, and I didn't get it. But that was because I kept him in his room and I was doing everything. But I was actually coming out here to like, get stuff to eat or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was fine. It wasn't like, it was just more mental, the fact that I had something that I could spread, that I was like, okay, well,
yeah, you feel like you're a leper or whatever, however they say it. Like,
so it was like the first 2 days were not good, but it wasn't unbearable. It was just like, okay, I knew I needed to rest, but it was like I didn't have a sore throat, I didn't have like anything that was like crazy or whatever, like uncomfortable. So I was just pretty much just like kind of just waiting for it to leave and just watching shit on TV, you know what I'm saying?
What's crazy is like, this, I've never been this afraid of catching the flu, which is crazy because I should be, I feel like. And I feel like I had the flu when we came back from wedding in October. But here's the interesting thing, like now, like that came out of nowhere in 2020 or 2019, really, and then it hit America 2020. Now I'm hearing that there's a different. I don't know if it's a different case, but it's like another uptick of it in Wuhan. Apparently, there's like another like spread or something of COVID. I don't think it's a different strain. I haven't really heard that much about it, but I heard that like, oh, they're trying to keep their numbers under wraps, but they're experiencing another, epidemic. What's interesting to me though is I remember when it first happened, the first time I was like, oh, well, I mean, is it really going to get over here? And boy, I didn't realize how small the world is.
I mean, and then the thing about it is, we find out way too late. Like I remember when people at my job in 2019 starting to wear masks to work. And I remember everybody looking at them like, oh, what the hell are they doing? They look stupid, this, that, and the other. And lo and behold, we all had to wear masks months after that. But I feel like I did get sick in 2019 at the end in December. I was sick. It was like, I thought it was the flu, right? But it could have probably been that. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I got really sick. Both me and James got sick in February, and I think it could have been that.
Yeah, but they weren't really, probably testing really good for it. So it was like, everybody, it's a lot of people in that category from probably like 6 months before the pandemic started. You know what I mean? Because you don't know who traveled where, who did what, or whatever. And this is the crazy thing about contracting it. Yeah, we had to wear masks and you have to breathe it in to get it. But it's a reason why we have to like clean our hands and stuff too, because you could also get it from surfaces or touch or whatever. Like, you don't know when everybody's using the same elevator button, the same, just random shit that you don't really think about. Somebody touches something at the grocery store and putting it back. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? Right. And yeah, you might have your little gloves on while you're in the store, touching stuff, whatever. But then, if you're not taking those gloves off before you touch your car handle, like you've transferred it somewhere to some place. And so I feel like, we just have no idea. And yeah, there's an uptick or whatever. And a lot of people that I know have been like a lot of different clusters of people that I know. It's just like, oh, this person has it. This person just got over it. This person had it, whatever. And so when I got it, I was just like, well, I've been running from it for 3 years. And, yeah.
No, I feel you, because that's how I felt when I heard that it's coming back up in Wuhan. Because I'm like, okay, here we go again. Like, there's no way you could live your life like this forever, where we're just like, I remember I was excited when we first got locked down, because what happened was, I know that sounds horrible, but I was so excited to work from home. And we always had the ability to work from home, but I felt like I manifested that part, because I was like,
you and me both, okay?
And here's what happened though.
Hey, fourth quarter.
So here's what happened though. Like, because we all thought we were going to be out for 3 weeks. But what I realized is that, you just never know what's going to happen. But I didn't realize how dependent we could be on, like, not going anywhere. Like, how much mentally that
it can become a way of life, right?
It can become a way of life, but we're pretty self-sufficient now. Now that we've gone through that, I think that this time it would be a better situation, because it's like, okay, now you can really, what it takes. But at the same time, like, nobody wants to live like that all the time. And when you want to go out, you just want to go out.
No, it was crazy, because I remember, like you said, like right before that happened, I remember having a conversation with my boss about teleworking. And I was just like, I had to do something, and I would, we had the capability to telework before anyway. And I would just take my laptop home and I'd be like, hey, I'm teleworking today, whatever. But she frowned upon it, and she used to get mad because I wouldn't ask permission. I would just be like, oh, sorry, I'm teleworking today. And so she kind of like expressed her, disdain for it. And I remember when that whole thing happened, and I was like, now I have to telework.
Is that your TV?
Where?
Or that's something that, oh, you know what? I'm an idiot. That's my sound.
I was like, what is she talking about?
The whole time I was like, what is that sound?
What did it sound like? I didn't hear it. I don't know if the audience can hear, but I didn't hear anything. I could hear you, but
Okay, so you can't hear it.
I can't. I can hear you, but I can't hear. I don't hear anything in
Okay,
the
good.
background.
I was like, what is the sound? Okay, cool. No, this is wild. It's something that we're talking about later, but it
Okay.
started coming up,
Oh,
and I
one
was
of
like,
the Instagrams or
it's
something.
actually this one is an actual YouTube.
Okay.
But it's so funny. I'm so glad you can't hear it. I would think you could because my
Yeah.
speaker is on. But
But
sorry,
no.
everyone watching this live. Hey, Crown Prince. Yeah, so I'm so sorry, and I cut you off from your thought too. But okay,
No, I was just saying, like, I actually like it was a fucked up reason why we had to be, on lockdown, and it was,
quarantine.
but also we were thinking from our points of views, like you're pretty much okay in your home with James doing what you're doing. Like I'm cool over here with my son doing what we do, but like I thought about the people who like, they used the reasons that they left home to do other things and to get away from whatever was going on at home. And I didn't even think about that. Like, so it was a lot of people that were in situations that probably
Sadly, I didn't.
a lot of situations probably ended because, okay, now I got to look at you every day kind of thing. I didn't even think about it like that. Cause for me, I was just like, oh, I got work
do
this corner. I got all this. I bet. But I really wouldn't want to be locked down again or whatever. Some people were talking about the fact that it could happen again, but I was like, I don't think they're ever going to do that again.
I don't know. I feel like it could happen. Like if that were the because here's the thing that is so interesting to me because I remember when it first started. Hey, Carl Prince. When it first started, and I was afraid of going out and interacting with people. I remember being in my office and I was in one of those cubicles and I was right near the kitchen. So anytime somebody would call for something, I'll be like, probably like this is my desk. And I wanted to wear a mask. I think I was one of the first people to buy masks because I was like all about it, but I didn't want to look silly in public.
Let me
I didn't
tell
want people to tell me. I didn't want people to think I was overreacting, and I didn't want people to
your
think
cousin was the first one to start wearing masks at our job, Shantia. And everybody was like, why is she wearing a mask? Why is she wearing a mask? And I never asked her why she was wearing a mask, but I remember the stuff coming up about this or whatever. And I was like, well, shit, you can't fault her for trying to protect herself. You know what I'm saying? And then look, weeks later, all of you have to wear masks.
And now you couldn't find a mask. Okay.
Right.
Find masks for a minute.
And so that's the crazy part because it's like, okay, like, we're still like that. Like I would, I go to the grocery store and I'll hear somebody like hacking in the hallway. Now I listen, if you got a cough, you got a cough. Like I just got over the shit. So I did have moments where I couldn't control the fact that I had the urge to cough. And so I would be in the store like, okay, let's not do this. Okay, let's get in the store, out of the store, cough, because if I hear somebody hacking away in the aisle, I'm definitely not walking down the aisle. Whatever I needed to get is not going to get got because I'm thinking you just like,
emitting all of these particles. Look, I clearly, and I made a, oh gosh, this is going to come off in such poor taste, but I made a joke and it went over so good. Like at a meeting, we had like a meeting for like a team meeting, like in the days before we were like dismissed for three weeks. And I played this clip because I was like, oh, this is funny because I was telling one of my husband's friends that he would be making this face all the time, and I played the clip from Outbreak, right, and where they were in the movies, and I think it was Outbreak. So they were in the movies, and the guy was like coughing. Somebody was coughing, and everybody in the movie was like laughing, like with their mouth open all hard. And then you could see the particles like almost in slow motion, just like go in his mouth. And the next thing you know, he was just like, while he got up, he wanted to get some water. So he went, and every frame they captured him at, he looked worse and worse, like he had gotten sick real time. And so then the next thing you know, he had like bumped into some guy accidentally because he was just trying to, like get help. And the guy was like, it's like a funny part of the movie, but I was just joking about it. And then the next thing you know, it was real. So anyway.
Did you ever watch, I'm sorry to keep us on this topic, but did you ever watch first of all, TV, by the way, is so different than how we were growing up. Like, remember when we used to be pressed for the Cosby Show to come on? Like, we used to have our VHS and we used to like record in living color and stuff like that.
Yes.
It's so different now. Like, I think about all of the things that we've added to our normal day. Now it's crazy. It's crazy.
You mean since COVID?
No, since like we were growing up, like a regular day would, you know, okay, let's say today's Friday. We're like, we go to school, come home, eat dinner. We might go outside before dinner. We'll play the game. We might listen to the radio. We might record a song on the radio with a little cassette tape. And or we might like have some type of game that we play with the dictaphone with each other where we're singing in the dictaphone and playing that shit back, like little creative stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know, like imagine if we had cell phones back then, the access to the internet and stuff like that. Like we are kind of, so I was telling your nephew, he needs to write stuff down. And the reason why I was telling him that is because I come from that whole Franklin planner, you know, era of, you know, writing stuff in a book, you know what I'm saying? And that's not the case. Like we're well, I don't know what you're considered, because I think you kind of on the line with millennial.
I'm technically considered a millennial, but I don't claim millennials.
See, and I'm Gen X and Earl is Gen Z. So Gen Z was born not really having to, they could go all through their life without using paper. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much. Like when they were born, they had tablets and stuff and, you know, handheld games and stuff like that. So I had to stop and think about that and be like, you know what? Maybe that's why the fuck he's ignoring me. Like, lady, I'm not writing nothing down because I never had to really write nothing down. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, so we need to figure out another way for him to do the same mindset things that, you know, you and on paper that he can do digitally, because like
that's
now,
so
like
sad and unfortunate. I understand.
Anyway,
this is this whole this is actually brings us right into our first topic, but it's so sad that that generation is going to miss out on. I mean, they could always write things down, but because it wasn't ever embedded in them, right? Like there's such a cognitive experience between the hand and the mind that is not the same experience when you're typing or text, you know what I'm saying, using your thumbs or using it, like it's not the same. So, you know, honestly, even though I experience both, maybe it's my mindset that's keeping me from thinking it's, you know, a bad thing, like it's keeping me from thinking it's a good thing, but I definitely don't think it's a good thing. I would love for, and I know he's written stuff down before. I've seen him, you know, write down.
He will if he's forced, like meaning not that he's forced by me, but like for instance, he had to study, well, he had to cram study for a final a couple of weeks ago, and he had two options. He was like, I could memorize everything, and I was like, that's fucking crazy. I was like, that's crazy. I would never do that. You know what I'm saying? But then I was like, what you could do is you could just write them all down. I was like, when I write grocery lists, I can write that grocery list and forget it at home. But when I get in the store, I will bring back like 95% of that list because my brain remembers what I wrote down, right? I had
and where it was on the page and what color it was in.
Make the letters. Right. So he wrote down all the stuff and he passed the test, but then he realized that all the fucking shit that he didn't do during the semester was a bigger weight. And so that fucking cram session meant really nothing. But you live and you learn, you know what I'm saying? Experience is the best teacher. But yeah, so I didn't mean to derail us with that or whatever, but I just be thinking about how great we are, because I'm gonna say millennials and Generation X, because some millennials were born in the time to learn some stuff like writing stuff down, having a diary, having a journal, cassette tapes and stuff like that. Like we like adapted in all of that, right? Like so like we are like the best or whatever. But you know, I just have to find another way to figure out how to help him to do the same thing that we do on paper digitally. So anyway, all right.
No, I feel you. And I'm sharing this screen because this brings us into our first topic. And I wanted to share this because it was so funny. Let me take it off mute. This is a post by D.L. Hughley. And let me know if you can hear it.
No, I can't hear it.
Oh, okay. Well, basically, this is Bryant Gumbel.
That looks old. By the way they look on the video, that looks like it was back in the day.
what's funny about it is that okay, wait. You know what? I think I know how I can you hear now? No, it's okay. Anyway, they're looking at the first they're looking at the email address for the first time, and this is 1994, Bryant Gumbel, and it's funny to me because I remember this year. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna be 41 in a few weeks, and I very much so remember 1994 and being in school and just living life and I guess we weren't worried about internet or, we certainly weren't worried about the internet or email addresses.
No, but like it was just coming out, so everybody didn't even have a computer. That's the crazy part. Like everybody's household now, or everybody, if you say I don't have access to the internet, you're fucking lying. Like you can go to the library, you can use it on a burner phone, like you can do whatever, you know what I'm saying? You can even use old iPods and connect to the internet if you have some Wi-Fi around, you know what I'm saying? But back then, everybody didn't have that. So it was like a, let me see who's on here, like kind of thing, like for real.
Yeah.
But it's not like that anymore. It's just really gone wild. And the things that you can see on there is ridiculous. It's like, why would anybody upload some of this shit? But I'm gonna see if I can pull it up because we must hear what they were saying.
Oh my God, it was so funny. It makes me realize like we are now, I believe, overexposed to information, like to the point where
absolutely,
like you said, back in the day, it was this idea that let's see who's on this internet thing. And now it's more like, okay, it's everywhere and you can't escape it. So if there's something unhealthy about it or something that you can't, that you don't want to experience, like, sorry, it's everywhere around you and it's a necessity.
I mean, and you have people, so like 5 years ago, my YouTube experience changed because I used to watch YouTube all the time for like, natural hair stuff, recipes, how to do something or whatever. But 5 years ago, I found Tasha K and like a whole bunch of people in like this other sector or whatever. And it's better than cable, right? But it's like, I also realized that it gives some people who probably should not be on the internet. Like if they can take care of themselves to the point where they can have their own space and phone, then they can make whatever content they want to make, right? And it's like so crazy because some people should not be on the internet, but it's just giving some people a voice that probably don't need a voice sometimes. It's just it's really weird. It's kind of like driving, you know what I'm saying? Or like having babies. Like nobody needs the permission to have a baby. You can just make a baby and have a baby. There's no like certification for it. You know what I'm saying? It's like that you're like, who the fuck said that should be a parent?
Who lets you have a baby?
The internet is like the same thing because sometimes I'll be watching stuff happen on people's channels and I'll be like, wow, like this is what you're doing in front of whoever's watching. Like
I know. And to think that like if this is their not first experience, but my thinking is like, when you're young, you think that things are going to happen and you'll get over it and you'll go away. And the internet is not like that. But this is the very first time people are experiencing that. So it's no way that anybody could have warned you. You know what I'm saying? Like this is, if you're a kid and you're experiencing the internet and its ways, like you're going to have the permanent effects. It's going on your permanent record, as they used to say.
It's always going to be there. And the crazier thing is like, it's not even the people who are out here talking and even the people who get into arguments and stuff like that. Like those people really aren't the threats. It's the people who watch and never say anything, but they know what you look like and you don't know what they look like. And here you are telling all your family's business and all of your, whatever. And, you're like, what the hell are you doing? but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like some people just don't, should probably not be on here, but then they don't have anybody to tell them not to do this or not to do that. But the internet is really just crazy. And then there's the dark side. Like that wasn't even the dark side. But anyway, so let me see if we can hear this.
And the ring around it?
I can hear it.
See, that's what I said. Kay said she thought it was about.
Yeah. Oh.
but I'd never heard it. I'd never heard it said. I'd always seen the mark, but never heard it said. And then it sounded stupid when I said it. Violence at NBC.
I heard be around big fight up in the lunchroom the other week.
There it is. Violence at NBC. GE.com. I mean,
well, Allison should know.
What is internet anyway?
Internet is that massive computer network, the one that's becoming really big now.
What do you mean? That's big. How does one? What do you write to it like mail?
No, a lot of people use it and communicate. I guess they can communicate with NBC writers and producers. Allison, can you explain what internet is?
No, she can't say anything in 10 seconds or less.
Allison will be in the studio shortly.
What does
it mean?
It's a giant computer network made up of started from.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell us what this was.
It's like a computer billboard.
It's not in it. It's a computer billboard, but it's nationwide, and it's several universities and everything all joined together.
Right.
And others can access it.
Right.
And it's getting bigger and bigger all the time.
It came in really handy during the quake. A lot of people, that's how they were communicating out to tell family and loved ones they were okay because all the phone lines were down.
I was telling Katie,
but you don't need that. You don't need a phone line to operate internet.
No. And the ring around it.
That's crazy. Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
It's so interesting to sit there and hear them talk about like how stupid it looks and how crazy it sounds, and like, oh boy, that was 29. Was that 29
That was 29 years ago. I had to do the math. Wow, that was 29 years ago. If you were 16, then I was in the 6th grade. And I remember I had fun in the 6th grade. It was all about like watching Martin and playing Super Nintendo and being, with my friends, going outside. Being with my friends, and like it's just the time, like it's a great time, but like it was pre-internet, which is so funny because now I can't imagine life without internet. And just think about how like
now the internet runs the world.
The internet runs the world, and to think like they're like, what is the internet? And he's like, it's this and this and that. Like I wouldn't even be able to explain to you what the internet was because I still don't really know. Like I get it, it's a big web, it's an internet, it's an internet, like I don't know what to say, but like I actively, and this is why I say we're overexposed to information.
Beyonce's internet.
Yes. I actively have too many tabs open all the time, like on my phone, on my computers, like, and that's too many tabs open in my head. That's a meme that's running around these internet streets. But like the too many tabs thing, it's just like I'm constantly overexposing myself, but it's by, I don't know, it's by design. Like I can't figure out how to stop. It's like I can just bring up a new tab.
So the thing is, we're not being programmed to stop. So think about like looking at reels, right? Looking at reels is pretty dangerous because, they're not that long. If you don't like it, you can like move it immediately. Right. And then like back in the day when we watched TV, if you didn't like what was on out of the 3 or 4 shows that was on TV, then you just had to figure out something else to do, some other game to play until it was going off. Now you can watch whatever you want, as much as you want, when you want. Yeah. And so like it kind of programs our brain to be like, you're watching reels, flicking through reels, and now you're like, okay, well, I don't like this, so I'm moving on. And so it also goes over to other parts of your life because it's like, let me swipe right. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just gonna consume until I'm sick of it. It's like getting like a stomach ache or something on reels. But like I definitely do that, and I mean I don't really know how to stop. But I'll lie because I have been good about this, especially at the end of last year. I kind of fell off the wagon with this, but I was in a good space of like putting my phone away. Like either face down somewhere in another room, or like I even had to put it in a drawer at one point, just like, okay, I'm not going to have phone time until I say that it's time to have phone time, because I literally will pick up my phone and do different stuff than what I initially did, went to go do. And it's just like a loop. And we talked about this too, about all the information that's being absorbed through AI and through, our phones and our devices hearing what we're saying, and then we get marketed to based off of what our conversations are. And so I'm trying to figure out what is happening with this information. Obviously, they're using it for marketing, right? But like, and I mean, I'm not gonna stop
Who
talking.
the fuck knows? Because have you been on TikTok lately where people are doing that like AI filter? It's like you put your face in the circle and then it shows you like who. It started out, I think, is like what you would look like if you were like in Wakanda or something, but now it's something else or whatever. But everybody that does it is always like, that is not me, but it does. All the ones I've seen, it looks like the people, like it favors them, but sometimes it'll make them more masculine than feminine or more feminine than masculine. But like, I don't know what they're doing with that information, and I wouldn't take any of those 23andMe things either. But
yeah, because I feel like they've said,
I don't know what they're doing with that information. So.
They've already said too, especially in the the metaverse, that there are characters and faces in there, and you can actually build a profile with a computer generated face that looks like a real face, but the person doesn't exist. They just put it together, like they just drew up a nose or whatever, right? And it's not even a real person.
There's a rapper that's completely AI.
What's that?
There's a rapper that's completely AI. It's not even a real person. I was like, what the hell? I don't understand the.
You remember Sita?
Right. That was the first. Yeah, that was the first. Because I'm like, you know, I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about it. Like, on one hand, some of it's helpful, but then on the other hand, it's like, what is being done with the information? And like, if you have like, you know, because they're making all of these things like robots. Like, I saw a fully automated McDonald's that there's no people working in there. But it's like, what if there's a malfunction or whatever? You know, like when I see people in Teslas sleep, I'd be like, what if there's a malfunction? What are you doing?
What are you gonna do? Oh man.
I don't know. Maybe it's because of how I grew up, but I just can't fully trust electronics like that. Like, it's nice that it's happening. Okay, you know, it drove in the lane or whatever, but I can't fully just be like, all right,
I can't fully trust it either because it's new, and it's like, okay, there haven't been lifetimes that have passed that this is trusted. You know what I'm saying? Like an airplane, right? I'm sure the first people who got exposed to commercial flights were like, no, I'm not doing this. But now over the years, now there's enough of a study done to where you can say like, okay, well, the odds are this. You know what I mean? But I don't trust it either, especially because the people who are collecting the information are the people that need to be responsible, and I don't really know that they are. And so with those, you just mentioned those apps or those filters where you have to put your face in the thing, and then it takes. I believe that they're recording pieces of your like structure, of your bone structure, and they're recording things that are not, you know, you might not know that you're giving them access to. Right? Like maybe like the makeup of your, like the muscles in your eye, like I feel like a lot of those things can be generated now where you think it's just so,
you know, like people also were saying something about when Clubhouse first came out, because, you know, it's like, it started out as like an audio app where people were just in there talking, and it was like, they're recording y'all voices, dumbasses. And it's like, okay.
Come on,
we got to be able to do something. But like that AI stuff, I don't know about that. Like, I'm like, because like you said, that there are people, there's faces in the metaverse, and I don't understand the metaverse yet either. Like, to the point where I'm not saying I don't understand it, but I guess I will say I don't understand purchases in the metaverse, because like, you bought some weed in the metaverse, you can't smoke it.
Right. It's not gonna alter your state. Like you just right. And I mean, I don't know.
I need some more time. I need some more time.
Me too. And I do kind of understand like real estate in the metaverse, but I also don't, because can't you just resell it? Like nobody can go and occupy it and claim it. Like, of course you can, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you know that everybody this is the thing. You were
But I still don't get it, because it's like, I can't actually live in it.
Well, I think the idea is for business owners to be like, oh, I'm going to put my brand here, like the digital mall thing. But however, you are not going to be able to verify that they're actually going to honor the purchase, and everyone who comes in, you know, and visits the, you know, biggest McDonald's in the world is going to see your business right next to it. You don't know, like there's no way you could prove it in a court of law that they didn't. So my thing is like, I think I'll be okay without that. And this brings us into our
looking at people just spending money on drinks and shit in the metaverse. Like
in the metaverse, like, and I feel okay. So this is touchy, but some lady claims to have gotten raped in the metaverse or something like that.
See, now we're going too far. Okay,
that's wild. It's like, lady, take the goggles off.
Like. So I need to look that up because that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's true. Somebody's claimed that. And it's like, okay, I don't even know how to, like, in the real world.
I'm gonna say I believe it because people can't even believe I'm having this conversation. But if you think Grand Theft Auto, right, you can do all kinds of stuff on there. Somebody probably got on there and was like, oh, let me see if it lets me do this. Like, that is a crazy thing to think, but it's still in the metaverse.
And you are completely in control of your physical body.
Yeah, but you could have just like X'd out. I don't know what's going on. Can you just make yourself disappear in the metaverse? I don't know, but
or you could take the goggles off. I'm imagining she was wearing goggles, right? I'm imagining that. It's like, take that experience off. You don't really have to experience that, lady. And I don't know,
that is a little bit different, but still.
And so, okay, let's go into this. Is a good segue into our next topic, which is TikTok trends. Now, I enjoy some of the TikTok trends. I think they're fun. We just did one over the holidays, but the most recent ones, some of them have been disturbing over the last months, but the two recent ones that really caught my attention in a bad way, and one of them was, there's a trend of like, and I think they may have stopped it, but there was this trend of like kids telling their parents that their favorite celebrity died, and the reaction. And I just thought that was weird myself, not being a celebrity, but then also Andy Cohen, I think, had reacted to somebody saying that he died and he didn't like that. And I wouldn't like that either. But
no, you put such it out there in the universe. Stop. That's crazy.
I know, but it was for the, I got why they thought it was funny, because they saw their parents like freak out or whatever, but it really got horrible when Angela Bassett's daughter, I think, I don't know if it was a daughter or she has a son, so forgive me, internet, for not knowing the answer to this, but Angela Bassett's offspring had said to her that Michael B. Jordan died, and the look on her face was so.
That's messed up.
It was messed up because Chadwick, right? So she probably
right. Oh, I didn't think about that. But
so she's probably like she was. Oh man, the look on her face
that's traumatic. That's traumatic.
It brought an emotion out of me. I was like, oh no, don't tell Angela Bassett that, And I mean, like, the other people who I didn't care or didn't know about, like, I didn't, I guess, care. And I guess in the beginning, I was like, oh, that's a weird reaction. And I was watching it, but it's not a good idea to do that. Then another thing is like,
that was crazy.
A couple of days ago, this is when it started. The news started breaking about it. I don't know when it actually happened, but a 12-year-old girl died, because of this choking challenge or something. I guess they were, I don't really know a lot about the challenge, but they're calling it the choking challenge, and it's a TikTok challenge. And apparently it's when they try to choke themselves there, so they black out. Maybe it's called the blackout challenge. And unfortunately, she didn't make it because they are saying that she, asphyxiated until she passed away. So she has successfully done it twice before. This is from Yahoo News. And
wait, can you add that up? Because I can.
Hold on, I can put it up. Hold on.
No, it's not no biggie. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy because
do stuff like that when we were younger. We just did the Bloody Mary challenge and stuff like that, but we weren't trying to do to. Were we trying to take ourselves out? I don't think so.
No. And the thing
they were doing the Tide Pod challenge. They were doing the alcohol challenge where they were like rubbing alcohol over their limbs and setting themselves on fire and then actually burning themselves. That is crazy that you.
That's wild. I do have it up on the screen if you want to look at it. But this young lady right here, it's very unfortunate. She's an Argentinian. She's an Argentinian young girl. She was 12 years old, and yeah, she was found passed away in her home, attempting the blackout challenge, known as the choking challenge. Now, the messed up thing to me about this is that our kids don't really know, I think, what's safe and what's not, right? Like obviously there used to be this saying that went around, like, if your friends jumped off a bridge, would you do it too? Mm-hmm. And sometimes I think, yeah, sometimes people probably would, but the idea that you would get to the bridge and something would happen, you wouldn't be able to get there, something would be in the way. But I mean, now that
doing something that could possibly injure life is wild, but I guess the adrenaline rush for some of these kids is worth trying it so they can say that they did it. You know what I'm saying? And that is the danger that I was talking about, like, you know, well, I didn't say it like this, but you know, the access to the internet. Like, we were from a time where the internet, we got right on the beginning of before it got popular, right? So we kind of had, like, you know, we know what it's like to not have the internet for entertainment. Yeah, we had to make our own entertainment. And so, but these kids, it's like everything is for clicks and views and likes and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, for them, it's like a way of life. So like the fact that you could be like, okay, well, I'm gonna almost kill myself just to put it on the internet is wild.
And I think, and here's the piece that's really sad, is that I think she probably never thought.
What's up, Kel? No, we wasn't that crazy.
Kel, that is exactly right. We were not that crazy as kids, but it was like, even though we, you know, everybody wasn't always supervised all the time, it's like we knew enough to know, like, you know, don't play in the street, or, you know, don't drink that, or don't do that, or that's dangerous. And I feel like with all of the access to all of these crazy things that are happening, kids don't necessarily, they're not going in prepared like that to say, like, okay, this is dangerous and this is not. So she probably never considered that death was a possibility, because it's like, oh, I see all these people doing it, and so I'll be fine, right? I'll just be fine and it'll work out. And you just don't have that information, especially at this young of an age. But I've seen some people do some crazy stuff too. Like, you know, when that whole Drake challenge was out and people had their cars, and I assumed in the beginning that, oh, there's someone driving, right? And shooting the thing. But apparently some people would just have their cars going really slow. Like, you know, you take your foot off of the brake and have your car just going and be doing the Drake dance. Apparently some people were doing it that way and just not having, which is so stupid. But I think people think that it's nothing bad is going to happen to them because, oh, everybody else did it, I'll be fine. But it's like, no, everybody else didn't do it. And you can't see what's on the other side of these other people's cameras. So a lot of people who may have tried this challenge maybe didn't really do it all the way, right? So, but this is what I'm saying about being overexposed. This is what we're saying, because it's like, you know, it takes something like this for people to really consider, like, well, why would I do this? Right? Like, what would be the get for me to do something like this? Like, it's clicks and views, I'm sure, but
hold on, maybe it's me though.
Okay. Well,
so like the dopamine hit that you get when they get likes and stuff on their like videos and things like that. Like a lot of people, you know, that is what they come to the internet for. Like you have people like me that be like, you know, I'm gonna put something up that I like, and I want you guys to like it, but my feelings are not going to be hurt if you don't like it. Like, that's your choice. You know what I'm saying? But you have people who like ride on, oh my God, it only got 2 likes or whatever. And it's just like,
yeah. And it's not all about that.
You know, so many things could have happened, you know.
So, okay, let's go on to our next topic.
Just to come across it. You're breaking up a little bit. Am I breaking up?
I don't know. Yeah, but that was just a thing. Okay, I'm going to try this. I know we're live, but I'm just going to refresh, and so I'll be right back. And then we're going to go into our next topic.
I'm going to do it too. Hold on. All right, when she does it, okay, she did it. I'm gonna when she comes back. But let me find this in the meantime because there was something that she said that. Damn, I thought I saved it. Oh, there she is. She's back.
Okay,
all right.
I'm better now.
2.
One. Wait, what'd you say? Did you say?
Wait. 1, 2,
3.
All right, babe. I think we're good. I was gonna show you something because you said something that made me think about this, but I thought that I saved this, but I obviously did not because it was a picture of a half-eaten apple, and the part that was facing the mirror was the part that wasn't bitten, and the part that was facing the camera was all like getting brown because it had been eaten, and it was like, things aren't as they seem on social media. And it's like, a person looking at that picture would think that it was just a whole fresh apple, but the back was eaten off. So it's like, when you have kids that are impressionable like that, they don't think about the other side. They just see whatever, such and such did it, so I'll be fine or whatever. But it's just like, you think about that when you have kids because you're like, okay, well, let me just make sure this motherfucker knows this, right? Because when they were doing that alcohol challenge, setting themselves on fire and like eating Tide Pods, I definitely made sure I talked to my son about it just to make sure, nigga, look, don't think about doing this because this is dumb, okay? I didn't say it like that, but like I feel like I had to, at least as a parent, put it out there and be like, are you thinking about this? Like, what's going on? But because we think, okay, nobody would, do anything like that because that's not smart. Like, you just never know what they're not thinking about. You know what I mean? But anyway, so, okay, let's do the count one more time. 1, 2, 3. We got like a 2-second delay. Okay, so we can work with that. But anyway, so go ahead and go on to the next topic because I've
okay. So I was just looking for the picture I saw the picture you were talking about with the half-eaten apple, but I couldn't bring it up because it's not letting me do it. But that's okay. So the next thing we're going to talk about is, I wonder if I should go. Let's go to Jaguar Wright. Okay, we got to talk about this. Let me just say that I remember when she came out, and I'm just bringing up a picture. Say again.
I was about to say, all I know is what I've seen in the last couple of days, and I, have been watching her a little bit for the last year. Because Tasha K did a surviving Jaguar Wright thing, because like there was this whole interview on her page, and it was a bunch of controversy behind that, right? So now it's just really wild. But go ahead. I'm gonna bring this up.
I was just gonna say, I remember when she came out, like she first like hit the scene or whatever, and like I think this picture up here to like the top right shows how I remember like when she came out, and I mean, she was a singer, and it was like she could really sing, and she was on like one of the Jay-Z songs when he did.
Don't get it twisted. She still got her chops, though. She still got her chops.
Now I haven't heard her in a while, but because most of the time I hear about her, it's because she said something or made some comment or whatever. Now, here's what struck me about this whole situation. Now, I'm not as familiar with it as you are, but I did see weeks ago that she made claims about Diddy, and she was saying Doja Cat is a witch and certain things. And then lo and behold, right? And then she said stuff about a bunch of people, a bunch of celebrities, about how, she even said something about Jay-Z and Beyonce, and she made just a bunch of claims about like, conspiracy theories, what people would consider conspiracy theories. But what's interesting to me is that now what's in the news about her is that she got arrested for doing something that would be considered like weird, like throwing her child's ashes on a police officer, something like this. And it's like, well, that's interesting that story that would come out after what she just said. So I mean, like, I'm not necessarily a conspiracy theorist. Although I do believe that there are true stories out there that people call conspiracies, because if you believe that everything that that people consider a conspiracy theory is actually untrue, then you're a bit naive. Like, this is not all sugar sticks and rainbows out here. People aren't just out here telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So I would have to say, like, with a grain of salt,
she's been talking. She's been saying a lot of stuff. Like, this isn't like she did that interview, but she has her own Instagram channel and she says a lot of stuff around the internet on a regular basis, right? So a lot of stuff she said that interview probably was just kind of mainstream, but like she's been doing that, and it's just hard to figure out what to take as like truth, because I don't think that she's a liar or anything. Like, you know, if somebody's telling you that they've experienced something, like you kind of, it's like I don't want to write her off, like, and say everything you say is crazy, or I don't even want to use the word crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because just because it's like weird or unbeknown to me, I don't want to put it in a box like that. But like, I've always found it difficult to figure out, you know, what to take when they say, you know, eat the meat and throw the bones away. Like, what are the bones? Because a lot of stuff she says seem like it could be like for real. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and here's my thing. I'm wondering why, you know, what, I don't know. I mean, the points could be made either way, but my thought, like, because I'm just looking at her page right now, Instagram. It's just, I think this is her page. I'm not really sure, but it's just Jaguar, right? There's no blue check or anything like that. But I mean, like, it has a bunch of pictures of her and her family, I think, and just her in the car. And I'm thinking this is her page, but I'm just not even going to put it up just in case it's not. But my thing is,
so yeah, that's her page, and she goes live on there. She talks, and sometimes she tells a little bit about what's going on in her life, where, you know, what they're doing, and sometimes she talks about, you know, like sometimes she's somewhere where she's singing, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. Sometimes she sings in the car, so nobody really knows where. Like, her location is always kind of been like up in the air because, you know, Clyde Davidson's people have been looking for her, according to her. And so a lot of people are connected to that. So, you know, so when you talk about certain people, you know, like Erykah Badu, right? That might cause some problems. That might have caused some problems for her. You know what I'm saying?
All right, I want you to go into that a little bit, but I don't want you to say anything that is gonna get us looked at.
No, I think that, you know, I think that she does know some shit.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, we as regular people, a lot of stuff is gonna come to us and go over our heads because we don't actually really care about some of the stuff she's talking about.
Yeah.
But it's really easy to make somebody look like they're unstable, especially if they have a temper. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so easy to just trigger that person. And, you know, I'm shocked at who she's hanging with, because the person that she was with in that video, if anybody has seen that video where she got arrested, she was in that video with one of the members of Carbonation. So Carbonation was Nature Boy's cult crew or whatever. And I mean, I don't know how much you remember about Nature Boy, but he basically was talking people, like he was talking women out of leaving their kids to come over there and live with them, and then they get over there and they're getting mentally abused, they're getting put in the closet, they're getting put in the corner, they being starved, whatever. It's a bunch of stuff. It's a bunch of spiritual things behind that too, I believe. But like, just to see her talking to him was kind of weird. And the husband is like, they didn't really know him like that, and she just kind of, you know, was like, start calling him nephew and stuff. But he was with her when all of that stuff happened, and it was just weird. So, but part of it also looked like it could have been a good act as well. So, like, I'm at the point where I'm like, am I crazy? Because I don't really know, you know, what to believe. Her husband has gone on a couple of YouTube channels to talk about, you know, the fact, most recently he said that he's not leaving her, and they're gonna work on that stuff. But dude from Carbonation has to go. The dude from Carbonation made a statement as if that matters, because the husband is not trying to let him near Jaguar again, but he seems to think that he was being inappropriate with his wife. So a lot of rumors are going around about, did they sleep together? Because previously on somebody else's channel, she said, on Sean Davy Way's channel, she said that she was at her ex's house to make her husband jealous. And so, it was kind of weird.
This is what she said.
Yeah, she said this in front of her husband. They were on the show together because he was interviewing them. And this was like about a week ago, I think. And she was like, she just wanted to make him jealous, and she said that he already knew about it. And he confirmed, that's what happened, but we together, this, that, and the other. So it's just kind of weird. So now that she's hanging with dude, like there was all these lives with them together. And I don't, like I said, I don't know how familiar you are with Carbonation, but when they go live and they're talking about, I love myself, and they're talking about things that kind of amount to nothing sometimes. It's like they're talking in a lot of circles with certain key words. You know what I mean? But it lures certain people to be like, oh, I want to be a part of them. And us over here are like, what the fuck are you doing, lady? You have 2 kids at home. You're about to leave your kids to go over here and be with these people who aren't doing anything. And a lot of the people who left are now coming out to say that they really weren't doing shit. They was Googling stuff, getting on the internet and saying, getting on YouTube and repeating whatever they had Googled. And then they was getting off smoking Black and Miles and doing all types of other stuff that they were preaching against, right? So that's why I say it's just weird for her to be hanging with him. But she was like, she's starting her own network called Philadelphia, and she's going to have other content creators over there. I think the Night and Day Network is over there. If you've ever heard of them, they had a pretty nice size channel, and they talk about like current issues and stuff like that, things that happen. So they're going to be on there. And Solar, the guy that she was with from Carbonation, says that's the next time we're going to see him is on Philadelphia. But the husband is like, no, that nigga's not going to be nowhere near us. But he's all on the, I love y'all type of thing. It was just really weird.
So it's hard to gauge, because is it all for publicity or what? Like, it would make sense. But I just, when it comes to people saying things that sound true, like I don't know. It's like, I'm not going to write this person off as crazy and say I'm not listening to anything they say, right? Because some of the things might not be true, but what if some of them are? And you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't necessarily.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think we got a delay. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. She has been right about some stuff, but that's not to say that everything she's saying is right. So it's like, I don't know and then how people like in the mainstream media, that if somebody will have a TV show coming out, or a record coming out, there's a bunch of controversy kind of drives, people to look at what they're working on. So she has this new network and everything. So it's kind of like, okay, well, it's not far-fetched to think that somebody would be like, you know what? People are going to think this anyway, so let's just go with it. You know what I mean?
Let's get some free press.
Speaking like that, it's like, okay, am I losing it, or
it's free press though? If you think about it, it's not a bad it's not a bad strategy, because otherwise, who's going to be out there covering the new, launch of her network? She's not going to have E! News knocking down her door. So I think, hey, listen, if this is a tactic to do that, then what have you, like, it might work. But more on that, because I definitely want to go back and look more into it. So that's going to be a continued conversation. Okay, so you know what it's time for now. It's time.
Yeah, because I was trying to find a thing where she was actually singing. She still got her chops, and so that's something that's pretty good. That's why I'm like, okay, is she faking this whole thing? What's going on? You know what I'm saying? Because like when she got locked up, she did call Tokyo Toni, right, Blac Chyna's mother, because she got a YouTube channel. She has her own network that she's building up too. But she called Tokyo Tony, and she was saying that he's really the crazy one, but he done made her look crazy, and that she's in the same hospital that she was picking him up from, a while ago when he had a breakdown and say he was going to do something to himself or whatever. So it's just hard to figure out what to believe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. But she can still sing though. I've heard her sing recently, so she still got her chops.
All right, cool. I'm gonna have to go. This is not the end of this. This is definitely not the end of that story. We're just, we're gonna move on for today, but I'm definitely gonna go back and look at more information about it. So that's more to come on that, guys. Okay, so now it's time for Ready to Love. Can I just say that I forget from season to season how much I actually love this show. Like, I feel like I love the show because people come on there, they have these interesting personalities. How are you doing? I'm the single one. They have these interesting.
I haven't seen her so long. I need to go to her page. Sorry, y'all subscribe to I Am the Single One, okay? Subscribe to I Am the Single One. Sorry, we have a delay, but we're trying to work through it. So anyway, hi.
It's all good. So listen, they have these interesting personalities. They're all like, for the most part, really good looking, really well put together, poised, intelligent, and hilarious most of the time, Black people. And I love to see it. I love to see like good looking Black people on screen, you know what I'm saying, having good conversations, having interesting conversations, talking about the things that I would talk about if I were dating, or that I even talk about now. So I love the show. I just wanted to point that out. Now, we've said things in the past about production and whatever, and we're going to continue to say those things as we see fit. But I just have to put that out there that this is such a glorious time when there's a new season. Everything is hopeful and fresh.
Right. Like, we don't know these people, and it's like, okay, so fun to be like, how to see how everything plays out or whatever. But like, I do like the smell of a new cast. You know what I mean?
Yes. That's hilarious. Now, all right, with that said, let me get into it. Okay, Tommy pulled the okie doke. I knew he was going to pull the okie doke this season because he's starting out talking about, oh, there's only 16 cast members and da-da-da. I was like, they're going to bring more people in like they did in the past. Like, I knew they were going to bring more people in, but I really liked the people that they brought in. I don't even know, are those people even up here? I'm looking at it now. I don't even really think so.
No, I don't think they're on that one, but because I had to actually find the pictures, take the pictures of them from the actual show. So it's Fabrice and Mark Anthony. Do I got the pictures on here? I might have I don't think I got them on here because I don't think I put them in Dropbox, but Fabrice and Mark Anthony were the dudes, and then you got Cynthia and it's Jonetta. Is it Jonetta? Jonique? I can't remember her name. That's one of my pet peeves. But yeah, the two women were good. The two men were okay. The first one, Fabrice is a creep to me. I don't know. He just was creeping me out. Let me.
The guy. He's from the islands. Yeah, he was talking too much about sex, and he just seemed really odd. He just seemed kind of out of place. Like, James kept joking and saying he was in the 60s. I was like, he's not in his 60s, but he definitely didn't look like he fit in with that group. Like, I couldn't see him dating.
He said he was 40. They said he was 44. He's definitely not 44. He cannot be 44.
I don't believe that at all. He's somebody's grandfather. He's definitely somebody's grandfather. But not to say that that's a bad thing, but the idea that he's trying to pull off 44, come on, Grandpa, hang it up.
Well, they do mess with those ages, and I don't know if it's at the request of the person who's on the show. They just do that in general, right? Because I know, like, I always talk about the season where the first season in DC, where was it the first season in DC where Corey was on there? They had Corey's age wrong. So I don't know if that was a him thing or a them thing, but it was way off. So I was like, okay, I see what y'all doing here. So he could possibly be, I could see him being like in his early 50s.
Yeah, but he's not 44. He's not in his 40s. Like, I think that's safe to say. Especially being from the islands, like, sorry, I gotta get a little bit, what do they call it? Prejudice here. But when you're from the islands, you look even younger than you are. So he's definitely not in his 40s. Where nobody's going for that, Grandpa. You gotta go ahead and hang that up. But the rest of these people, so he's not on here because he was one of the pop-up people. The other guy who was the pop-up guy, he was a really good-looking guy. And the two women they brought in. Go ahead.
No, I think we have a delay. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop cutting you.
No, it's okay. The two women they brought in, I really liked them. So I think it's gonna make for even a better. So this is one of those ones where I love that they brought the people in that they brought in, because I'm like, oh, this is gonna make the show even more interesting, because once these people mix in with the group, it's gonna be even more fun. I definitely agreed with them voting off Dre. And Z, and here's why. Natasha, I can't even really remember her, so there you go. I guess she should have been voted off, and so she was. But Z, here's the thing. I really liked her at first, but then when they voted her at the bottom, and then she kept going around after that, asking people, she really wants to know why she was in the bottom. That's like confrontation. It's like, listen, it's a part of the game. Like, somebody has to be on the bottom, and you didn't get voted off, so just take that and move forward with it. But the fact that she was kind of like pressing people out, I could see how that was like a turnoff. And then she wasn't showing who she was because she was so concerned about doing the detective work of who put her in the bottom. It's like, obviously the majority. So somebody you're asking put you in the bottom, but somebody you're talking to now put you in the bottom, and just like know that if you want to stay, for sure. So I just thought that wasn't a good tactic. It wasn't a good strategy for her.
I agree with you on that. I'm gonna take this down really quick so I can show you. Wait, let's see. Am I showing this? I want to share this. Let's stop sharing that. And oh damn. But I got to do it again. I found his picture. He just creeped me out. I was not feeling him at all. First, I was like, all right, because you can't just judge everybody off the looks, but that's him right here. And I'm just like, bruh, I don't really want to be reminded that I'm going to have sex with you. Like, so could you just stop saying it? Stop, okay, we get it. Jeez Louise.
And the thing is, he's not a bad looking guy for his age. It's just that you're not their age.
From that part. You know what I'm saying? Let me see if I can find Mark Anthony too, because Mark Anthony was cute, and he's Haitian, he's part Haitian. So yeah, there's him.
Yeah, he was a good looking guy, and he had some good conversation. I really appreciated that. A lot of them had good conversation. I felt
he is there. I want to say, oh no, is it buffering? Boo!
It was buffering, but that's okay. You're on mute.
Can you see that?
I can't. I could just see like a bunch of. Oh yeah, I can see her now. Yeah.
Okay,
I liked her.
Cynthia.
I liked her conversation. She was such a fresh breath of air, because she's obviously a pretty woman. She kind of reminds me of somebody like somebody that I remember, like maybe it's a YouTuber or something. She
does remind me of somebody.
But she has a very unique look, and she's beautiful, and I love that about her. But then once she started talking, I was like, wow, she has a great personality, and she's honest, and I just loved that about her. I thought she was just like a great addition to the cast, and she seems like she's going to be one of those people. And let me not get myself in trouble, because I do this sometimes where I'm just like, I love this person. They're going to save the whole world. And then several shows later, they do something crazy, and I'm like, oh, eat my words. But for now, I really like Cynthia. I think she's a really good conversationalist, and she's really like she has a high level of what I can tell, like integrity and honesty with her. Now, Jonique, I like her. I think she's attractive. But when she started out in her confessional saying that she's a lot to handle. And that, it's just like, what does that mean?
And look at what's on the top of the picture. I'm looking for a man who can handle me.
Yeah. So when people say things like that, it leads me to believe that they're speaking from not only experience, but from what others have told them. It sounds like something that she kept hearing throughout her life. Like, well, you're a lot to handle, right? It's like, if people are telling you that, and that's probably the most polite thing to say, right? So if people are telling you that, like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? So I'm a little bit, you know.
So yeah, like you gotta fine line the perception of them, because of obviously we only get a little bit, right? And we don't know who's gonna act a fool as the season goes on, right? I've already put out my predictions that Dre is gonna be on some BS with that little thing in the front of his head.
Oh yeah, with the little bang.
Yeah, Blake. I don't think Blake's person is there.
I don't like the way Blake. Okay, so first of all, obviously, I did not like the way he said the thing about people are broken who don't have two parents, whatever. Because it's like you don't know that. You have no idea. There are people who lose their parents in horrible accidents. There are people who were foster kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have no idea. You can't just say that about a whole group of humanity. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's your opinion and that's fine. But you know, it's not attractive to someone who is looking for a mate. I think that was an unattractive thing for him to say. Then he tried to turn something that he said around and say, oh, well, you know, I'm 87% sure. Like, who says 87%? Get out of here. You're just saying that because you don't want to get voted off, because you made a very polarizing sort of like stand and said, I don't want more kids. And then, you know, now you want to back off that.
He's well within his rights. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you said it, stand on it, say it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is, but I don't want to be. I just don't think Blake's person is there. I think Blake is probably acting like he's looking for somebody,
but really just wants to be on TV or something.
I don't think Blake's person is there.
Like, now, okay, I also did not like the way that, I think her name is Corvaya.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the statements that they showed that she made. I don't know, like, we've been through this before, so you don't know what she actually said around that, or what was meant by some of the things that she said. But she does come off as a little bit like judgmental, right? When you think about, oh, the person that I'm with can't have a roommate. Like, some of these statements, I understand. Like, I understand where they're coming from. Like, okay, yeah, you don't want somebody who's like living with their parents and has been for the last 10 years and has no goals or dreams or plans to move forward with their life. But you never know what a person's situation is. And so if somebody like lives with their brother or their cousin, and you don't know if they're like starting a business venture together, or you don't know if somebody lives with their parents and they're taking care of their parents. So I get what she's saying. Like, I want a grown man that has his own place. Like, I understand the spirit of that statement, but I think, you know, one of the things that we are, you know, and we're at a disadvantage as women. Well, I'm saying we, but I'm already married, but like, women are at a disadvantage sometimes when we make these broad statements and excludes like bunches of people, because we're already outnumbered, right? Like, they already not outnumbered, like we outnumbered them. So already there's like there's a limited pool. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So like, not to say you should settle, but when you make those broad statements about something that doesn't really, like, it's not a permanent thing. You know what I mean? Like, so if they live with somebody else, that could just be what they're doing in this season. So it's like, if that's one of your requirements or structure, like then you're gonna cut off a whole portion of the population, and it doesn't even really mean anything.
Well, okay, so people do that all the time when they be like, oh, he got to be 6 foot this, when only a certain small percentage of the world is even 6 feet. You know what I'm saying? So like, you're cutting off all the dudes that, so I get what you're saying on that. I kind of like, when you come into a situation like this, you don't get to pick, like, it's like you didn't get to pick the people. So you kind of got to go with what's there. So it's like, yeah, you don't know how this person might be. Even though their situation is this right now, you don't know if it's going to change or whatever. Like, but at the same time, for the dating part, it's weird. It's weird women in a weird situation, because we wouldn't want to go. Like, I don't like to go to visit a dude that lives with a dude, because it's like, I don't need both of y'all to be in the house, even though, maybe I might know some of them, know somebody that lives with somebody. Okay. But as a general practice, I wouldn't do that. And so it could work if he would go to her house, or if they go out until he figures out whatever he's doing. Maybe he never had the motivation to do it. But I do feel like she don't care that she's coming off like a gold digger. I don't think I think that she's like, this is what I want and this is how I am. And she's going to attract that person, because I feel like it's at least 2 people there that would pay and spoil her.
Yeah, and I get it. And
what they wanted her to do, but she gonna have to give something up for it. But I think there's 2 people there that's gonna do it. So along with what you said about how, she's cutting a certain group of men off, is something else that comes with what you're asking for too. So
and just to play both sides, maybe she wants to cut that group off, right? Maybe that's her intention, is to say, I don't even want y'all looking over here if you're not willing to do this and that. I saw a post recently on Instagram where the lady was saying, like, for those men who are so worried about dating a gold digger, like, we're not looking for you, because most of the time men who have money aren't worried about it, and they're willing to pay money to get what they want. But I think that speaks to what you're saying, which is like, we had this whole it was a conversation I think you were part of in one of your panels. Is like, they were joking about it actually, and they were like, talking about what your billionaire boyfriend's girlfriend or something like that, like, and the fact that they didn't hear that part. So what was interesting about that is, like, it's a funny joke, but like, I'm thinking that a lot of people would put up with that. If you had a billionaire boyfriend and he was cheating, it's like, well, I've been cheated on by people with less money, right? So I'll put up with this. But it's like,
people will.
But it's like this, like, and I get it, but it's like, okay, if that's what your trade-off is, then that's what your trade-off is, and that's that's up to anybody to decide, like, what I mean, like. But I think, there's something to be said about that. Maybe she doesn't care that she's coming off as a gold digger, because she's like, well, if you have a problem with me being a gold digger, then you're not for me.
See, and I think there is some type of method to that, right? Like, if she's really like, I absolutely don't want anybody that's going to even think about asking me to come out of my pocket for anything, right? And if she thinks that, sorry.
No,
if she thinks that, then doing that is going to weed out those people and cross those people off. But like I said, it's at least 2 people there that I could see her being with. Like, she, it's all different types of women, all different types of men. But it's certain types of women that are okay with being like, I'm bringing this and you have to bring that. And they're cool with that transactional trade-off. So, I mean, I don't think she is not trying to come off as a gold digger, is what I would say.
Yeah.
I think she's like, this is the way it is. And if you can't, because she said to Blake, she said to Lyndon, she said to him on when he was about to tell her that she was still ready to love, she said, if you can't afford me, just say that. So that right there just let me know, oh, she knows exactly what she's doing. She knows exactly how she's coming off. Because I kind of like Lyndon. I like Lyndon's laid backness, but at the same time, Lyndon also looks like he might be like that because he doesn't have any like discipline in his life. Meaning, you know, he thinks it's okay to just have a roommate. He thinks it's okay to just be like, oh, well, the reason why is because my landlord made me move right away.
Yeah.
Like, what else happened leading up to that, Lyndon? Like,
right.
Full-time bartender? Like, what is going on right now? You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting too, because I know, you know, having from experience, the bartender lifestyle is something that is not conducive to necessarily like a traditional relationship. I'll just say that because and he even said it on the thing, like, yeah, he's, you know, he's out until late hours of the night. And sometimes he comes in and gets to sleep by the time people are waking up to go to their jobs in the morning. So it's, if you have like a traditional, I don't even say a traditional, because our bodies are, you know, like based on the circadian rhythms, like, you know, if you're not, you know, like I won't say forward thinking, but if he's going to keep that job and he thinks that he's going to find somebody who, you know, is going to want to be in a relationship and have kids and do all these things, like, I don't know that's going to be so easy. That's what I'll say.
I honestly don't see him with anybody like her. So, you know,
that's a definite mismatch. They're not even in danger.
But like I said, I'm telling you, she is gonna either get like I feel like she's gonna gravitate towards Fabrice, or she's gonna gravitate towards DeMario. They both know about fashion. They both seem like they, you know, are all about the status.
Yeah, I can see her with Fabrice. Actually, I didn't even think about that until just now.
Because I feel like she's like kind of right now. She's coming off as the kind of girl that wants to like live the soft life and be pretty and, you know, do this for me, open the door for me, whatever kind of thing or whatever. I don't know. I could be totally misjudging her, but that is how she's coming off to me right now.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Well, there's going to be more about this. I'm so excited about this season. These are people who I really am interested in learning more about, and everybody seems fun. Everybody seems like engaged, and like these are going to be some really good, and I don't say scenes, like this is, you know, but I think this is going to be some really good interactions. It's going to be some really good TV for sure, because everybody's attractive.
Because I think they are kind of like scenes, because there is a level of production with these things. Like, you know, like, okay, for instance, in this situation, in this episode, I really thought the conversation was lackluster. Like, are these questions that people are really asking? Did the conversation get a little bit more interesting or what? Because it was really surfacey. And I feel like, you know, say you got a group of people that aren't used to talking to each other, that, you know, may need some priming to have the conversation. It seemed like a lot of their questions were just very elementary, very basic.
Are you talking about at the mansion or at those like other
I'm talking about at those dates, at the mansion, like period. It was kind of like, you know, like I don't know how it's gonna unfold, but especially when they met the new girls, it was kind of like, you know, do you like light skin or dark skin?
Yeah, or
like
this color eyes or
ugly person. And it was just like real elementary to me or whatever. And I'm like, are you really asking those questions on the first date to people? Like, I'm trying to figure out, you know, we about to cut somebody, or somebody's about to get cut. So I'm trying to figure out the questions, and I'm trying to make an impression. So I want, you know, good questions. I'm not going to ask you nothing like that. But at the same time, though, you know, like I said, there is an element of production, but, you know, these still are people at the end of the day. So, you know, I don't know. At this point, I don't have like a favorite yet. I did pick 3 women in the beginning, but last episode I didn't pick anybody because I was just like, all right, let me just let this marinate or whatever. Because every season it's always some drama starting at some point. So he didn't introduce the new people on the second episode, and that's kind of really early. So
yeah, it is. But I think it's maybe because of feedback that they've gotten, because then when you bring in the new people, like a couple of shows in, that it's been a couple weeks that people have gotten to to get to know each other, and then you bring in new people, and it's kind of unfair to everybody involved because like there's cuts already happening. These people aren't really familiar with everybody, so they either got to get in there and just learn everybody right away.
They just got to jump in, like, hey, hi, just like Cynthia, and I think Cynthia and Jonique did that really well. You know what I'm saying? But let's talk about Blake and Z's dates. They had 2 dates. They had 1 date at first, and then last. Like, I felt like he kept saying that she was awkward, but his ass was awkward as well.
He doesn't have a sense of, I mean, okay, so based off of what I've seen over these episodes,
I'm gonna write something in the private chat so you can see it because I don't want to say it out loud, but
it doesn't seem like, I know what you're gonna say. It doesn't seem like he has any self-awareness because unfortunately he is saying these things.
Is that what you thought I was gonna say?
I knew it. I knew you were gonna say that.
We'll see. We'll see.
You're so funny. I was thinking I was gonna say Cornelius, but but
which,
I knew
by the
you
way, him and shit. What is her name? What was the lady's name? Cornelius and why is it right there? I just saw her page. I can't remember her name.
Well, look, Cornelius and they got a divorce. They were never married. I know who you're talking about, but they're not together anymore, right?
Yeah, they're together. Cornelius and
are they?
Oh gosh, her name.
It's gonna come back to you. Her name. It's gonna come back to you.
She's the Dr. Hazel. What is her first name? I can't remember. But they're still together. Katie and Swayze are not.
Camille, right?
Camille. Okay. Yes. Sorry, Camille. I couldn't remember your name, but I knew Dr.
I had to
Hazel.
Google it because I couldn't remember either. Because that's how it's like when you're on the spot. But you're just not gonna remember. But I think that he's here for other reasons. I think he either has some, he wants to be on TV or he has some business stuff that he wants to accomplish. But yeah, because I don't think he's looking for anywhere. First of all, here's a sidebar conversation that me and James were having while we were watching it. It's funny how when women are introduced and they're like, oh, I have kids, plural, like the thought is like, oh, well, how many baby fathers, right? But then when a man has several baby moms, then it's not really looked at like a problem, but really it's like, it's not a problem. Like kids are beautiful, but I think somebody said it really well a couple seasons back. It's like, it shows that you don't have discipline or you're not good at making decisions or something like that. It's like, well, I
can't remember who said that, but somebody did say that. And that was a good point. But some of the women are being like, like when Mike said that he had kids last season, they were kind of like, oh, like Sharice was like, oh, that's baggage, right? But yeah, you're right. Like it's not viewed the same,
Well, I think even the Mike situation is a little different because I believe that he was married and he had a family, and that's a little different than like I want to say that I heard Blake say that it was a different situation each time. Those are different points in my life or something like that. And however he said it, I'm just paraphrasing, so I don't know exactly what the quote was, but however he said it, he almost minimized the idea that like you created life with 3 different people, right? It's like, oh, those were 3 different points, like the center of attention. The subject was him. He put it on himself, like, well, this is my life, and this is how I've gone and chosen to live my life. But it's like, okay, but then you created these 3 little spirits along the way, and now it's their life. And so every time you do that, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like it's a whole experience for everyone. And you've connected these 3 people forever. And so, it was a little dismissive, but like I said, there's editing, there's lots of things. He's not on, on
stage. It's like that editing piece. It's like with Kavaya and Mark Anthony's conversation. I really wanted to know if she said all the things she said in the same sentence like that, or if it was different parts of the conversation, and then, they are showing us whatever they deem to be, you know, TV worthy versus what actually happened. And so that's the downfall of this kind of situation. Like, people go on here. The reason why people do these reality TV shows is, at the same time, okay, you might be thinking, you know, I might mess around and find somebody, but at the end of the day, it's going to give you exposure. Like, look at Joy and Clifton. They went on the Ready to Love. They found each other. That's a win. And now they're about to be on Love and Marriage DC. That's a huge win. And
I can't wait for that.
So it's like, you know, I do see the motivation for somebody to actually go through it. But I mean, at the same time, you still are meeting new people that you haven't met before, and it's possibly a chance. But at the same time, like, I could see, like, Corvaya, right? Like, I could see myself going on a show like that and being like, you know what? I'm about to be the most ridiculous version of myself that I've ever been.
Oh,
because I'm on TV, right? And because so, this is 8 men, eight American, right? And so I may or may not find love with these guys, but what if I just went in here and was just like how Beyonce is Sasha Fierce, right? What if I was in here and like, you know what, I'm going to be, you know, the Mr. Meter Joe the whole time, like address me as such and type of shit. Like, you probably would be at home laughing, like, I can't believe she's on TV saying this shit.
Yeah.
But like, what if it actually
create a whole career for yourself that way?
And then people be like, oh, I need her on my show. Oh, I need this. I want to be, you know, that. So that's kind of the goal for a lot of people to go on the show, because they do get exposure. If they have a business, they can get that business exposure. And then you never know who you might meet after the fact, because it's like a little fraternity / sorority, because once they join the cast, now they're a part, you know, now the other cast from other seasons want to meet them, and they can get invited to stuff and talk and all of that or whatever. Oh my God, we did not talk about Rashid proposing to Simone.
Okay, we got to talk about that. But first, let me just say something to that point that you just made. I remember a long time ago watching Flavor of Love, and New York always stood out to me. And I don't know, I don't ever remember disliking her. Like, I thought she was obnoxious, and some of the stuff she said, I was like, you would never talk to me like that. But I always enjoyed watching her. And it was like she created this personality. Now, that could be how she really was, but it was so entertaining. And like, I was rooting for Hoops, which I don't know why, because Flavor of Love, I mean, but I was rooting for Hoops to win because I liked Hoops, and Hoops ended up winning. But I loved the scenes with New York because she was just so over the top. And to your point, it's like, I'm sure that was considered, right? Like, I'm going to come on here and I'm just going to be a ball of entertainment. And look at what that did for her. Like, I would have never, she has had a whole 30, you know what I'm saying? I don't say 30-year career. It's probably been like 20 years since Flavor of Love.
She even brought her mother along.
What's that?
She even brought her mother along when her mother.
I know, and she had a whole season of her own shows. She's like been doing so many things since that. She's still relevant to this day. Like, I've just seen her doing something, and it's like she's still a relevant individual.
Chance had his show on Zeus, and she came back for that, talking about she still love her some Chance.
So, and look, she created more people out of that. Jennifer Hudson's ex was a person who was on I Love New York. There's a lot of people that were on there that, you know what I'm saying? like, it's really interesting how
that's what I'm saying. Like, people are, you know, a lot of people are against reality TV, but I did some research and I found out that reality TV started way back before we were all born, right? Before you and I were born. It started in like the 1930s. I can't remember the name of the show, but I will find that show if somebody tries to contest what I say. But it started back in like 1930, 1940 with some show that I'll find the name of. But it got popular in the 90s, early 2000s. But like the thing is, it's not real, right? It's reality TV because it's using real people that are not always celebrities, and they're things that are produced and set up. But then there's always a room. There's always room for me to break character and fucking cuss your ass out. You know, there's always room for that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what people watch for, because they're like, there might be an opportunity for somebody to get cussed out or a table scene or something like that. Now, if, like I said, if I went on there, I would definitely have to be like, what am I going to go be the regular me, I am going to be the regular me, but I'm going to say everything that I want to say. I'm going to like, it's you're on TV, so I can
it's
see
like hair and makeup. Like, why not enhance it?
Right, I can see people over exaggerating their personalities and things like that, or just really putting on the show for the camera. Like Camille was a theater major, so you know your nephew's a theater major. You know how animated they can be or whatever. Yes. So you know, it is what it is, but no, I mean, I'm just taking everybody with a grain of salt. I'm like, okay, let's see how this season plays out. The thing that I look forward to are the interviews at the end, because production is not a hold of those, right? That's them being able to answer questions and explain things that we saw. So I am learning to watch the show as a viewer, but with the thought in the back of my mind that, well, just because they showed us that this person said this, doesn't mean that that's all they said. So I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. Like for the guys, I didn't get on them too hard for asking, do you like light skin or dark skin, or do you like ugly? Maybe they asked some other questions. I felt like it was a good exchange when they asked her about what type she likes, and she was like, I like everybody. Like I can't judge the way you look. I felt her on that.
I did.
But I mean, like, I'm gonna wait and see, because I feel like Blake is going down the wrong road right now, because he's definitely coming off as an asshole. I mean, they're showing us, but then there was one woman who said that she thinks that the women are misunderstanding him, but she was the only one to say that. But what they say in these women's lounges is going to tell us how he really is.
How they are.
They all say that, then okay, then you must be being an asshole. But Larry probably would like Blake. He probably would think Blake was really cool.
Shout out to Larry.
You might be able to tell us, but no.
Listen, so look, we're gonna ready to see how this plays out, but he just doesn't seem all the way. He seems a little too serious sometimes. So, and maybe that's his personality, but it's just right now it's a no. Okay, listen, let's talk about that proposal, please. Let's do that. I watched that, Jerry, so many times. Like, whatever happened after that, I kept missing. So, like, we were just doing other stuff. Like, we were cooking dinner and doing these things. And then we kept having to rewind. So I saw the proposal like 4 or 5 times. And I thought it was so cool because she really just genuinely did not know. She was like, oh, yeah, we're going to come here and do this. And I was like, I know Tommy had to know. But I just thought it was so heartwarming and cute.
So I feel like Ready to Love should have been doing stuff like that. There's a couple of couples that are together that, like Clifton and Joy, they did theirs on Fox 5. So, okay. But like, I feel like they should make it a thing. Like, if you find somebody on here, then you come back here to propose to them. And I feel like they should pay for the fucking wedding, because why not? Like, you put them together, like, come on, this is ready to wed. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. Do they have those type of funds?
Well, I mean, shit, I don't know, because the ratings are not bad. But anyway, so, I thought that was so great. But there's a special that I have to watch on. They have a podcast called Ages and Stages. And also Simone has a channel called Girl, Is That Legal? So she gives like attorney, advice from an attorney on certain things, especially the things that are like the Tory Lane thing. She was making commentary on that. But they have their own podcast where they review the show, and they talked about the proposal, because I don't know if you remember back months ago, there was an engagement with her family, like that. They put the video out and showed, well, maybe she showed certain people or whatever, but I remember seeing it, that he had already proposed in front of her family. But then they did that. So, but we don't know when that was filmed, but they did do a special on their page on Ages and Stages podcast to talk about how the behind the scenes was, because you cannot tell me that Simone was not being genuine. The falling on the knees and the cry face, I was like, she did not know. But I think that
I don't think she knew.
But I think it was something about the ring or something, because I feel like I heard her say, it was a real ring in there. So I got to go back and look at it to see what they said about it, because they did break that down, because there was a situation where he brought all her family and people together, and then when she turned around in that room, he proposed to her, and so there were 2 proposals or whatever. But I'm happy for them, because they actually didn't find love until after their season, because she got cut.
Yeah.
So So yeah, but I'm happy for them though.
I am too. Okay, I'm really excited. I was just looking at her page right now. She's talking about Meg Thee Stallion and Southwest Airlines. I'm going to check them out. Yes. Okay, all right. So we're going to continue our conversation about this next week about Ready to Love. I do have a couple of shout outs, everyone. Well, we both do. Actually, we're just going to do 2 out of these 3 that I have listed here.
What do you have?
The first one should be no surprise to anyone. I'm just going to go ahead and bring this over if my computer wants to cooperate. Everybody, Tab's out here in these streets, okay? And she's doing much. Look at Abigail. I was watching it the other day.
I saw that today.
She's doing the most, okay? She out here with these products. Do you hear me? Now, number 1 product is this Donna's recipe. Now, I got some right here because I was prepped. So good. So shout out to you,
right here.
Mr. Mita Joe. I want to give a shout out to you for that Christmas gift card. I was able to go and try these products, and I put a little bit extra with it because I had to get this. It's like the serum.
Okay.
It's like for hair strength. So look, I got the creamy shampoo, and it's sweet potato pie. That's what it says it smells like, but I think it smells like vanilla cookies, and it's so good. Like,
I agree with that.
I literally had to smell it just now. This stuff, it doesn't say this on here, but it seems like it's a detangler too. Like, I just felt like the shampoo was so creamy. And I was like, I was in the shower, like washing my hair. I was like, yo, this is so creamy. It's like, it was almost like, don't get me wrong, it's an organic product, but it almost felt like relaxer a little bit. For a second, I was like, what is this? It's that creamy. And then another thing that I really like, so then I got the leave-in conditioner. And then I also got this hair cream, the sweet creamy hair cream. Now, what's funny about this is, I don't know if you looked on the back, because I always just look on the back to see like what it's used for. Like, should I use this when my hair is wet? Should I use it when it's dry? Should I put a little bit in, or should I put a lot? I always use too much product anyway. So sue me.
I don't use enough product. I learned that today.
So what's funny is if you look at some of the stuff she says in the back of this, I can hear her saying it. She's like, apply to wet hair directly on the scalp, work into the scalp like so, like that. And slide the remaining creamy goodness down the hair shaft to cleanse the scalp. And then another one, she's like, what did she say? She was like, apply to wet or dry hair, no need to rinse. Very good. Enjoy and go about your business. Very good. Enjoy and go about your business. I love this. I just love that little.
Yeah, I heard that in her voice too. Yeah, that's great.
I could hear it in her voice when I was reading. I was laughing because I was like, "Yo, this is what's up." I hope this is not like a one-time thing, because I'm gonna need to have these products for the rest of my life.
No, I remember they sold out and then they restocked, and then she's fucking tearing up Target with the clothes and this other stuff and the popcorn that I haven't been able to find. So,
can we talk about it? Let me see if I can bring up this picture. I wonder if my photos from my phone get automatically like dumped to my. Yes, they do. Oh, that's awesome.
If you got all Apple products over there, they definitely probably do.
Okay, so this, my friends, is my little collection of stuff that I got. Let's see if I can make it full screen.
What are those? Are those bowls or cups?
So these are little dip bowls.
Ramekin, or like what you would use like a ramekin for?
Yeah, they're like a little bit bigger than a ramekin, but they're shaped like avocados.
Okay.
And there's 4 different shades of green, like green and like yellow/green. Then I got this spatula that says very good, and I've been drinking out of this coffee mug like basically for the last week or so. I did not get the popcorn. I was so sad. I literally had something else in my basket too, but the warden was there, so I called James the warden, and we are trying to be on our house mode, so I can't spend as much as I would like to, but I had to support, and when I find that popcorn, it's over.
I went to my local Target. I didn't try the one further down the street, but they did not have it. And the little boy that I asked didn't know who Tabitha Brown was. I was like, you don't know who Auntie Tab is? But I'm on popcorn. I love some good popcorn, right? So I was definitely looking for it. They had their own brand in there, but they didn't have Tabitha Brown in there. So, but she probably, I mean, it looks like she bought all the ones from her local Target. But then I went to the website to see if they had it to order, and it was like it was out of stock. So I don't know. I'll just have to check that.
So okay, so that's for that, and then I do have your next thing ready to go up. So let me move this and bring this over. This is one of the blogs that I watch and that I think James put me onto.
Let's talk about the fact that Slutty Vegan is finally coming to DC. Now, she's from Baltimore, so I really am disappointed that she didn't have a location here sooner. Like, that is unacceptable. You know what I'm saying? But she moved to Atlanta, so I get it. But she's doing big things. The new location is going to be on 12th and H in the Petworth area. She was supposed to be on a mainstream TV news station earlier this week or last week, but there was some server or something like that worked at one of her restaurants talking about she was suing her or trying to sue her for unpaid wages. But like, we don't know any, as a former server, we don't know any background about this server. Like, why are you suing the CEO of the company? What did you go to work? Were you doing your work? You know what I'm saying? Like, why, what wages are you talking about? Right. So, but the news station canceled on her right like the day of, because they were like, oh, we don't want to be in any controversy. It's like, you didn't even look into this. She probably don't even know that server. You know what I'm saying? She got several locations.
Which is crazy.
And that server probably was not doing what they were supposed to be doing. And they probably, somebody else pointed this out, they probably have a background of doing shit like this. But she ended up being something else. Once that happened and she didn't get that, something else happened like right away. Like somebody else recognized her that was just as big. So I'm excited for her to come to the area. I will drive to DC to go get a Slutty Vegan burger. Hopefully we don't have the lines that they be having in Atlanta, but we'll see.
We'll see. If it does happen that way, we'll definitely go through it. I think you must be talking about Drew Barrymore. She was the guest on Drew Barrymore's show alongside comedian Chelsea Handler.
There was she got an email from somebody. Hold on.
That's one of the things that I don't look forward to as an entrepreneur is like dealing with people doing that. I remember when Candy Burris had some stuff in the news about this guy. He was it wasn't even in the news. It was actually, it made the show. It was right at the end of her and Phaedra's relationship, where this guy was claiming that he was suing her for millions of dollars, but there's no way that he ever was going to be paid that with his salary. So it's like really odd. And then also you got to think, like, if you're suing somebody for unpaid wages, that means you work for free for as long as you're saying that you were owed money. And like, who in their right mind would do that? I always look at that stuff with the side eye, because it's not like, you working for the White House or the government and you're just on furlough or something like that. But it's just like, how long are you going to work as a server or as a event person with no pay? And so you need to.
Nobody does that. That's why I was like,
you need to file a lawsuit. Like you got 3 weeks tops.
And the crazy thing is, if that was true, everybody that's out here watching Pinky Cole on social media knows that you could have probably gone to her directly if there was an issue and she would have corrected it. So the Today Show canceled her segment, and right after that, the NAACP recognized her work. So I was like,
I don't know the ins and outs of it, but it just seems odd to me. Like, you literally have about 3 weeks in my time. My real time is like, if I work for you and I'm providing a service and I'm spending my days like showing up and providing service and providing, labor, then you have a good solid 3 weeks. Like, and that's like since my last pay. Right? Like, let's say for some odd reason,
got 3 weeks. Okay.
I'm going to expect to get my check every 2 weeks or however long we say we're getting paid. But within the first week of me not being paid, when we agreed to be paid, that's when you're going to stop seeing me. Because it's like, okay, well, if I can't expect payment from you, why would I waste my time? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll see you when I get my paycheck. Like you can easily bring me back.
Sometimes people look at situations, and she's been making hella moves on, based on what she's been posting online. You can see the moves that she's making. She got a new location she got new locations coming. She has all of these, things that she's doing. And I feel like this is a perfect opportunity for somebody to be like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and slip this in. Maybe I'll get something. Maybe I won't, or whatever. But no.
So
she don't even come off as that type of person to do anything like that. You know what I'm saying? She really doesn't.
She seems like a real karma person. Like she wouldn't do anything like.
I told you her husband or her soon-to-be husband. She got the slutty vegan. He got Dave's cheesesteaks. So they have stuff on lock. But I just feel like if somebody you're a server, they could probably just pay you if there was a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I was just like, it's always some BS or whatever.
Yeah. Well, listen, everybody. That's our topics for tonight. We have a bunch of other topics, but I think we're going to leave it there, and we're going to come back next week. We got a couple more stories that are gonna connect from week to week. I think we're gonna definitely continue our conversation about Jaguar Wright. I wanted to touch on something about cancel culture and as a whole, so we'll probably talk about that next week. And we definitely are going to be following Ready to Love until the season ends, and probably a little bit after that. So
can't wait to see what crazy happens this season.
Yes, we're excited to be back. 2023. I think this is season 3 of Those Two Sisters. So we got a lot of stuff coming for you guys, and we got some surprises too. So
yes, we do. Evil laugh with heads rubbing together. Anyway, thank you all for joining us. Definitely make sure you follow our other social media. Check the description. Yes, I'm a Unicorn on YouTube is in the description. I thought ahead tonight, and follow her on Instagram. I'll put her Instagram in there as well. I'll put in my Instagram. You're already on my YouTube page. Also, make sure you check out the website, www.mrmediajoe.com. You can get shirts like the one I have on. It says "Be the Light."
Oh, I love that. I was wondering where you got
a Peace Love shirt on there, and I got some workout tees on there. I'm going to be updating the merchandise, periodically based on what's going on in the world and the motivation that we need. I feel like I want my shirts to be when you put it on, you feel like, yes, this is my affirmation for the day or whatever, yes. Right? So check us out, follow us. We got some good things coming. And thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Like the video, share, and if you're not already subscribed, what are you doing? So that's all I have to say. I guess we'll see you guys next Thursday for Those Two Sisters. Faith, you got anything else to say?
That's all. I'm just happy to be back, y'all. See you next week.
See y'all next week.